Yeah, I mean things are moving. We made a lot of updates to our food.
Hmm.
Not our food, but like operations. We're getting better. This past time around, the second pre-order went a lot better on many accounts, and therefore, because things went better, the food was better. And so we got an actual feedback form this time for people.
Oh, nice.
About 8 or 9 people fill it out, but the reactions were very good. Like no, and granted, it's like people that are pretty supportive to begin with, so like it's good. But like people were very supportive. Like they said it was good. So things are feeling good. Still a lot of just operational concerns, not concerns, but just prioritization, I would say.
Hmm.
This weekend especially is really big for us because now we're doing 2 days, and like we've never done 2 days before. And so now the prep is pretty intense because like we actually don't know what it's going to feel like to do 2 days worth of prep. Um, but I am taking off work on Friday and hopefully on Saturday as well, so like we can actually sort of nail this down. Um, but yeah, it'll
Wait,
it'll definitely be a very tiring weekend for sure.
you're taking off Saturday? Isn't Saturday the pop-up?
Yeah, no, so like because of the pop-up, like because I work at night on usually Friday,
Oh,
so like I'm trying to take off both days.
I see.
Right
I
now I'm
see.
taking off Friday for sure, but like I think I might need to take off Saturday as well. But
Hmm.
like we'll see how that goes.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
but
man,
yeah,
exciting stuff.
yeah.
And how did the pickup go? Since I remember you said that you might do the pickups near your kitchen.
We did. It was good. Like I think people were okay with it. Like basically everybody except for a couple people came and picked it up. We did run into an issue where like somebody got confused because they thought it was going to be the day after, and so then we had a big discussion about like a refund or like what do we do? We ended up giving them sort of like equivalent of store credit, and so if you just come back to us and like you want the same, or like we'll give you the same amount.
Mm.
But like you have to come out to like obviously like one of our other events or something like that.
So,
Yeah, because like yeah, we were debating like should we like because technically it's not our like it's like they forgot that it was pickup, and so then they just forgot to pick it up, but they already paid for it, and so we had like a whole debate about like what is right versus what is wrong, and we ended up sort of settling for that. But what we were gonna likely do if we continue to do pre-orders is gonna be like if you miss the pre-order, like there's nothing we can do for you, like it's gonna be a you know sort of is what it is.
mm. Who are some of the contributors to those decisions?
It's just me and Jimmy. I mean, we
Okay.
literally it's like we rented a U-Haul this time, which kind of funny. But a U-Haul is really nice. It's cheaper than getting like a big SUV for 3 or 4 days, and there's just a ton of space, and so it's super helpful.
Hmm.
Uh,
Is it cheaper? Like, how much is a U-Haul for a day?
all for it's a fixed fee plus however many miles you drive.
Hmm.
Because you don't actually we didn't drive that much. It was like I think the base rate is like 30 or $40 per day, plus like it's like $1.85 per mile.
Wow. Okay, so for you, really, like just moving things A to B and then B to
Yeah.
C. So,
So it ended up coming out to like 160 or $170 for us, which is relative to like renting an SUV, which is going to be like 350 to like 400.
yeah.
Uh, much better. Um, so yeah, so I don't know if we're going to continue to do that because like U-Haul is not a good look. But at this point, like Jimmy and I are like, should we just get a car because it is such a pain. Like it is just such a pain hauling things around. And so we're like, it might just be worth it to consider getting like a really cheap like white truck.
But
Um,
like those, like a truck or like an SUV?
like those big vans that are like theoretically we think they're gonna be cheaper than like getting like a nice SUV, but like just
Like
literally
a 봉고차?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Something
Ah, like a van. Okay,
yeah.
nice.
Like we're hoping that'd probably be cheaper, but like we just don't know. And
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Huh.
we're just gotta test a few things around. And like all this stuff, 'cause we ended up also, this is kind of big. We got a second storage unit at our kitchen for an
Ah,
dollars a month, which is huge because now I can get rid of all this stuff that's right behind me.
yeah.
Because like my apartment, just no matter how much I try to organize it and clean it, is just such a mess because there's just so much stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and like it's a nightmare. And so what we're probably gonna have to do is like go back into the kitchen at some point tomorrow and like just organize the crap out of the kitchen, like a
Hmm.
store.
Hmm.
so that like we can actually tell where things are. Because right now what's happening is like we end up having to play Tetris every day because like we can't like actually fit all of this stuff that we have.
Yeah.
Uh, and so yeah, so I'm getting a little. I have to move in about a month, and so I'm
Mm,
just sort of getting ready to sell a bunch of stuff, and would love to live in an apartment that is not just so jam packed with crap.
mm,
But
mm. Yeah, I think that's just it for your like personal life as well, that differentiation between your, work and then personal life, especially with so much tools in your house. Like how's that been?
yeah.
Are you irritated by that? Has that been kind of stressful in some ways as well?
No, I mean, I would say it hasn't really gotten to like it hasn't really bothered me too much. I think it's just the fact that like now because we literally have to carry so much stuff back and forth, and usually at the kitchen we're not very organized towards the end, and
Yeah.
so the bring stuff here, it's still not organized, and so I basically have to clean and organize everything.
Yeah.
Even when I do that, it's still not enough. Like it still looks like an absolute mess back here. It looks like nobody tried to do anything, and so. I think that's what's getting to me because like basically I just have to come home every day and it's like it's always still a mess.
Mm,
Like usually Sundays and Mondays are the days where I try to like clean stuff up, but like
mm,
at the point it's just getting to a point where like I can't really clean anything up. So like I just like put it in a corner and like try to organize it. So I think it'll be nice to get that second storage space so like we can take most of the stuff and like actually keep it in the kitchen. And then some of this other stuff like Jimmy will probably take as well. Just because now I'm actually moving to a place. I'm moving in with three college students. Um, at near UIC. It is the
oh,
yeah, it is the closest that I was able to find with like an affordable rent price for a reasonable apartment within a reasonable distance.
wow.
The only caveat is I have to live with college students, but like I think it should be fine. They're all like 20. 28.
Staying young. Wow, that. I mean, yeah, I think these are things that, we can't really like, jump over, I feel, because, it's part of your life. You've, I guess, experienced the different stages of your life from like college years to like, starting at Bain and then now like transitioning in your life. And for you to make that sacrifice, I feel is pretty huge too. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it is going to be a change for sure. It is definitely going to be a step in a different direction, but I mean, I think the rent just alone is huge. Like it's basically
yeah.
half what I pay here, which is huge for me. It's like right at the peak of my budget of what I was looking for. So it's still not ideal. Like
Mm-mm-mm.
I went saw the space, like the space is gonna be great. I think it's gonna be perfect for what I need. I literally just need a room and a bathroom and like it has that plus an in-unit washer and whatever and like
Mm-hmm.
there's like plenty of space and it's not into like a different like a dangerous neighborhood or anything. Air
Yeah.
conditioning works great. Um yeah, so I filled out the application today. Hopefully all the paperwork goes smoothly, and then I will likely what I'll have to do is basically sell all the furniture that I have, which is fine. So like all the sofa, like the TV, and like the every like the tables and stuff like that. I will just
Yeah.
sell all of it,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I'm gonna try to slim down as much as I can. I literally just want to take a desk and a bed. That's like my goal.
Dang, I mean, would you call yourself more of a minimalist though? Like before this?
I mean, not no, because like I have a lot of stuff. Like I don't I'm not a hoarder by any means. Like I throw away stuff quite frequently. But
Uh-huh.
right, just because there's a lot of stuff just in general that I keep around like in my
Mm,
closet, I don't think twice about it.
mm.
But like now at this point, I'm just gonna chuck everything. If it's not important for me right now, I'm just gonna it's all going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's a big sacrifice. I mean, yeah, and I can definitely feel it just from your words about like that, your commitment towards that. Because I mean, sure, when we hear the great stories of like, I don't know, starting from what, like a dorm room to from like and then growing into something great, but like you're actually kind of living that experience, your mentality and your thought is that you're just gonna bring your desk and bed, which is yeah, like it shows a lot about your character.
Yeah, we'll try. It's gonna be a lot of work. Like I'm trying to balance. Like now I need to actually think about how I'm gonna sell, like what I'm gonna sell versus just toss, and
Yeah,
to get done with all of this like slowly because I essentially still have about a month and a half, but I want to get this process done with pretty quickly so that I literally just keep the bare essentials of what I need, and then I
yeah,
will we'll call it there. But um, there's just a lot of little stuff, that just ends up compiling over time. And it's like,
Yeah.
what bare minimum that I need to survive? And then, there's obviously a lot of stuff like keep up wise that I'll still have to keep around, but you know, I think we'll figure things out one at a time for that one. So
Yeah. Makes sense. Very cool. Well, it's good to hear that the second round of the pickup was better than last time. Was it just for you guys, just the familiarity with everything? Was there any additional circumstances that helped?
no, we changed a lot of stuff. So like every time we do it, we're like, okay, let's try this instead. So as an example, this time around, we actually reserved another 5 hours of the shared kitchen space on Friday. And
Mm.
at the time prepping all the things that we would normally prep at home. And so then we basically had all like we prepped the carrots and then we also had the eggs prepared the night before. And the eggs and the carrots saved us an incredible amount of time. Like I think that is probably the game changer for us in terms of what operationally we needed to do.
Hmm.
And so after we made those changes, the day after, instead of doing those things, we could focus on the other little things, and then Jimmy could actually just get started on the chicken. Which inevitably what that means is that we actually had probably one too many people that are helping us out this time around because one person was
Oh,
standing there.
yeah, yeah.
We just had no idea of knowing, right? Because we didn't know actually how operationally it would work. And then thankfully the food tasted just as good. Like there's no issues with the quality, even if you prep it a little bit before, which ends up saving us like it is the thing that probably takes us,
Oh,
being able to produce, like 100 rolls to like maybe however many makes sense.
wow. And this is the cold version, right? You guys are going for the cold version this time, or
But no, it's just we bring it back down to room temperature, and so everything
okay.
is served at room temperature as it should. I will say the meats we try to keep a little bit warmer, and so the weather is actually okay with some of the meat ones. Obviously, you can't keep it out for too long because it does have the eggs in it, but we do have like the crab and the tuna does have a lot of mayo, and so that one we actually end up buying a cooler, and so then instead of like keeping it out in the warm, we have a cooler where it's not too cold, so like we don't put a lot of ice in it, but we put a layer of ice at the bottom in Ziploc bags, covered up with like some metal sheet pans and some towels, and then we put the boxes on top of it, and then it like produces like a nice like 60 to 70 degree temperature, which is like perfect for us.
Wow, wow. I really like how you guys kind of found what the problem was, try to figure that out, and just pick that out and try to see if you guys can solve it and see if that makes the process more efficient. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's the whole that's like what we're doing every single time we do anything. It's like what is giving us problems and then how do we fix those problems? And then you try that and then inevitably either there's another problem that comes as a result of you changing things or just in general other problems arise because you're doing things differently and then you
Mm,
just run the same cycle over again.
mm,
Uh, but I
mm.
think what we have found a way that the pickups work and like the pre-orders worked. And now what we have to figure out is how do we do that for 2 days consecutively? Because then now the question is the nice thing about doing pop-ups is that in reality, we can allot ourselves saying we're going to make this amount, but then however many we make is however many we make. Like if we screw up one of them, it's not that big of a deal. You just end up not being able to sell it. And so then the numbers aren't as rigid because a pre-order, everybody's ordered and paid for it. So you are obligated to give them a certain amount. But with a pop-up, it's not quite like that. It's like how much can we make and like how much can we push ourselves? The end result is going to be okay.
Mm. Wow, that's very cool. Yeah, I'm curious though. I guess these pickups, these pre-orders are gonna, happen throughout the summer. I guess for the preparation for the pop-up, is there any difference between the preparation for that and the pickup,
Yeah,
other
there's a lot.
other than just okay?
Yeah, there's a lot. One thing is we were getting a payment platform ready, and so the tap to pay, we're
Ah,
use like Venmo. Like we're not going to use like the big like Square or like Toast or anything like that, just because in order to get their handheld devices is like a ton of money, and like we just don't need it yet. Um, so we are getting a payment platform of some kind, whether it's we can do it through Venmo, we can do it through Chase, but We are doing that, and then we are also getting a lot of like branding merch. So like on the that we have a couple tables. We just bought like a big tablecloth that's branded, so that like we can cover the tablecloth because we actually have to go to the place and like set it up ourselves. It's not like they have like a separate area for us, or like they don't have, they have a separate area, but they don't have like equipment for us. So we basically bring our own tables. We like set up ourselves.
Oh,
Yeah, and so we have a table set up. So we bought like a little banner for it. We're gonna get we have like these little plastic holders that is gonna have like the QR code of our Venmo and our Zelle. It's gonna have a QR code to our link tree so they can follow us on social media. It's also gonna have a little pamphlet of like here's what our story is. Obviously our menu is also gonna be on there. We're also gonna have like a cute smaller version of like a chalkboard, like the very typical sort of pop-up style. So we've made all those purchases, so we'll get that ready as well. But besides that, the food is the same. Like the way we prepare our food is going to be the same. The way we season things, the way we make things is going to be just fine. So
hmm. And so I guess for the pop-up, you had to get the license for that. Is that correct?
no, so technically, I mean, technically, this is technically there is a pop-up license, but nobody really goes through it because it's a pain. And
Okay.
like it's like a whole different set of paperwork that's not really necessary. And so we are legally allowed to commercially sell. So like
Yeah.
that is technically good enough for us. If we do like a major event or like if there's like a pop-up like a night market or something, that's a different story because then
Ah,
that's like a whole different application in of itself. But like we're not doing that. We're going to
yeah.
like these cafes and just like popping up, so it should be no problem.
Yeah.
Um,
How's
but
the process like? Is it easy to reach out to them, or are these, I don't know, like professional pop-up locations?
yeah, they're
Do you
very popular.
pay like a percentage or so?
Yeah, they're very popular cafes to begin with, and we actually happen to know like a person that I work with. Like they know somebody that works there, and so they were able
Hmm.
to connect us with the owners there.
Hmm.
And so the owners are extremely nice. They're very supportive. They're just letting us keep all of our profit,
Wow.
which is huge. But also,
Yeah.
it's a testament to the fact that like there's a community of people that are willing to support and like help
Each
out, and
other. Yeah.
uh, they sort of get what we're trying to do. So like they're sort of hands off. They just said, we obviously post on social media. They helped back us there, and then they were just like, you try and take and run with it what you can. The other cafe that we're doing it at is actually like it's designed. The cafe itself is designed for things like that. It's literally called side practice, meaning they want people to showcase their side hustles and side practices at their cafe, and they do it every weekend. So like it's the culture that they built is that people come in expecting new things every single weekend with the pop-ups. And so they also don't take any of the profit that we make. They don't take a cut of it at all. And again, their whole purpose is like they just want to support and like show the community what like cool people what cool things people are doing.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really cool. And the owner of Side Practice is actually somebody that is sort of like I've heard him being referred to as sort of the mayor of the Filipino community in Chicago. I've never personally met him. I would love to meet him. He seems like an amazing person, but he's done amazing things. But he basically owns or has some sort of stake in a lot of the popular Chicago Filipino like restaurants in Chicago that has been recently really just popping off.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, I think when I was last in Chicago, didn't we go to that like very interesting like candle place and they had is it Filipino or Vietnamese like pastries that we didn't get to have?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't remember. There's a place called Kasama that is very famous,
Hmm. Hmm.
and is really good. But there's also another set of like newer Filipino places that have popped up in like the last couple of years or so, and like they're doing really well.
Hmm. Well, I think that's great. I mean, it's hard to do it alone. It's always nice to have that supporting and backing of the community to do so. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure if this is a bit of a sensitive question, but I'm curious. How's I guess, there's a lot of investments or purchases needed for the journey here. How's that been? Was it a lot more than you thought? Is it much more smaller than you kind of planned?
No, I think it's been pretty reasonable for the most part. I think, it hasn't been like I think the real investments will come once you have to do a brick and mortar. But at this point, it's
Mm,
all like kitchen equipment, which even if it's like as expensive as you can get, is it's like a few $1,000s at the most, which to us is something that we'll invest to and commit to.
mhm,
There is a question of like we thankfully our orders themselves are pretty self-sufficient, meaning that we make a little bit of money or like we at least we've never lost money on orders. But because we've had to make the investments up front on some of the equipment and things like that, we are not tight on cash, but like our credit card is like we're like running pretty close to the max just because of one, the credit card's new, and so our credit card limit is not too high, but also just because we've made those investments early on and like we don't want to just like throw away because like there Jimmy knows all about this, but like there's basically 0% APR. So like we don't have to, there's no interest for the first 24 months. So it's
yeah,
like from a cash flow perspective, as long as we can keep some cash afloat, then we'll be
yeah,
okay. But we are bootstrapping everything. And so it's not like we don't have obviously like an infinite supply of money, but like we have enough to get by for at least a while. And then
mhm,
once we get into the brick and mortar, that's when it really becomes okay, do we take on investments? Do we take on debt? Or do we, because investments means that you take on equity and I'm never too keen on doing that. And so
mhm, mhm,
realistically, that might mean we take a loan from the bank or something like that.
hmm, yeah. No, I think I ask about that is because there might be people out there who might be interested in starting something on their own, whether, although there are a lot of digital products out there, there's always going to be people who are, and also a market for these physical products and consumables. But some people might just be, scared of maybe the financial commitment to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what's your thoughts on
I mean, I think it's a very valid concern.
that?
To be fair, I'm throwing like I bootstrapping to us means I'm and Jimmy, both Jimmy and I are investing all of the money that we've spent the last 3 or 4 years making into this thing. And for me, that potentially include all the things, including, like life savings and things like that. So it is not a decision to be taken lightly. I don't know if I could ever recommend somebody to be like, yeah, just throw everything that you've just made into something that you don't know is going to work. But I mean, for me, that's the risk that I personally am willing to take, right? And that's why I'm
Mhm,
here. I ended up quitting my job to begin with. I'm very happy with where my decisions have taken me and like how things are going so far. But yeah, I mean, the risk is very real. Like it is not a joke, right? Like at a certain point, if we run out of cash, like I run out of cash, meaning I have to find a way to pay rent. And so right now, realistically, I can't quit my jobs, like my part-time jobs. Like I need to find myself like some sort of sustainable income, which is what the restaurant jobs are doing for me.
mhm,
Everything that we are putting in to keep up is staying with keep up, which I think is like a business 101, right? Whatever money that you make from the business will stay within the business no matter what. Like Jimmy and I do not take any cuts of it whatsoever, if that even, I don't think that ever crossed our minds, but everything has been, just pouring what we have into the business and then just seeing what happens. And then if from a just like a lifestyle perspective, obviously I'm moving to I'm sort of downsizing my apartment and, making ends meet. Um, but thankfully, I think the restaurant jobs have been self-sufficient for me so far.
mhm. Wow. Yeah, I've just got to say that's very impressive. And I think I'm just, yeah, every week it just kind of helps me put it into perspective that, yeah, it's hard to really follow the words you say, and I guess that's something you're proving every day. So very
Yeah,
good for you.
you just have to do it. I think sometimes, we think too much and then you end up not doing things. And I think Jimmy and I keep realizing, I think I said this, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but if Jimmy and I don't do anything, like nothing, literally nothing happens. Like the business doesn't move, like there is nothing that happens, right? Like we could literally
Mhm.
stop doing this and it would disappear poof tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there is a constant, you have to keep pushing. You have to keep doing something. I think that's sometimes the hard part because it's really easy when you don't have anything to do, just sit there, be on your phone for a while.
Yeah.
Especially for me on days like Sundays and Mondays when I'm sort of resting. Like usually Sundays I will rest, like meaning I will sleep for a while. But it doesn't ever end, right? Like we have another like we had to make this post today with Viet 5. And so then we had a meeting yesterday about like what are we gonna post? When are we gonna post it? What does our posting schedule look like? How are we gonna handle operations? Like how do we handle logistics? We actually, Jimmy and I toured another kitchen facility this morning.
Mm.
Very, very nice, very well funded facility. It is, you can tell as soon as you look at it, it's like one of those nice incubators, like for entrepreneurs and like, Mhm. and like you can tell it's a very nice facility. The space is great. It's very well air conditioned. Like everything's spotless. Like everything's, everything's exactly what you would imagine. But I think what's really nice is now that Jimmy and I have had experience working in these kitchens, we sort of know what is very important to us and like what are non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Of one of which is like burners, right? Like burners, we now test all the burners. So like we went into this facility and we tested the burners and we're like, the burners are weak. We can't have weak burners. Like the burners are actually really important.
Hmm.
And so I don't know if you can control that in any way. I'm sure you can, but like the shared kitchen facility that we have now, while it's not perfect, it actually has like 12 burners, and some of those are really strong. And so this new facility is, while it's spotless and clean and well air conditioned, like it only has 6 burners for the larger kitchens, and they're not that strong. And so right off the bat, we're like, okay, because we know we need at least 4 to 6 burners at one given time, like this probably isn't realistic for us, right? Another big thing is like the counter space. Like we know exactly how much counter space we need now because we've done this a few times. But like, there's not enough counter space in these kitchens. Like they offer you like these private kitchens, but these private kitchens are actually smaller than what we anticipated.
Hmm.
And then lastly, like the thing that probably is really nice is actually that it's very well temperature controlled. And so the temperature inside there is like it's like actually air conditioned, and so we don't have to worry about our food spoiling. But like that's probably the only pro that we had that was like actually worth considering. I think everything else, like our shared kitchen now, does just as well. Also, this new facility, because it is so nice, everything costs money, right? Like not just storage space, but you have to rent a cage for the storage space, and that's an additional fee. And like
Interesting.
it's like a whole thing. And so then you're like, okay, now you get like why this facility is so nice, but then you also get why they're charging so much for it. And so I think we sort of walked out of there going, it is very impressive. Like if we had a lot of money to throw away, like that would, no doubt we would go there, but it just doesn't make any sense for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those are very valid considerations, and it's really interesting to just hear that like there are some non-negotiables. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, I think I was telling Jim this too earlier today, but it's a really good thing that we found the shared kitchen that we're at now first before, like instead of going to both at the beginning without having
Yeah.
any experience. Because I
Yeah.
think we were like, especially for me, because I'm enticed by those things. I would have been like, wow, this place is so nice and so clean and so well organized. And like everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. And like everything's temperature controlled and everything's perfect. We
Hmm.
should go here even if it costs like 3 times as much. But because we've had the experience of actually doing this, we sort of know what we need. And then there's a
Hmm.
lot of things, a lot of what Jimmy called fluff, which I mean theoretically isn't really, I mean it is fluff in the grand scheme of things because we've now done it, but like it's not fluff to people that may not know that it is fluff.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I guess, sometimes those weren't planned, but I guess it just really worked out the way it did.
Yeah, because I mean at a certain point, what we were saying is rather than pay those prices, we might as well just look for a brick and mortar because
Yeah.
we're just going to be we're draining money at that point.
Hmm. Yeah. Very interesting. Since we're on the topic of brick and mortar, and still I know it's a plan that you guys are having for more in the later calendar year, or in the calendar year. I'm curious. Have you guys had any conversations regarding that, as in like where to start? Maybe in the next progression after the pickup, is it straight to brick and mortar?
No, we don't know yet. I think
Okay.
what we're realizing is everything takes time.
Yeah.
And even for us to get comfortable with these pre-orders, we're still not comfortable with them. We've done
Hmm.
it once, we've done it right once.
Hmm.
You need to get to a point where we're getting it right automatically, right?
Hmm.
Like just getting it right once is not good enough, right? You have to be able to do this execution on a day by day basis. And like even for us now, this next leap is how do we figure out how to do it for 2 days? And
Hmm.
then, after that is going to be how do we do like multiple days, but with like separate events, right? Like we can do a pickup one day and then next day maybe we do a pre-order, or then maybe there's like a big catering order. Like how do we accommodate both?
Hmm.
And then how do we do that efficiently? And then how do we do that at good quality and at good pace, right?
Hmm.
It's like, but that's on a week by week basis, right? So like this week, we've now learned that we can, okay, we sort of understand how we can do pre-orders and like we know how many people we need, we know how what like the resources are. Now we're about to learn how it's like to do a pop-up. And like I'm sure we'll make a lot of mistakes and we'll be very stressed and like we'll be, whatever. But then now once we figure out how to do these pop-ups, it's like, how do you do a combination of both, right?
Mm,
Like that's not going to happen until end of July. And so then you think about, okay, at the end of July, that means that, okay, now we know how to do pre-orders and pop-ups once or twice. Like we've had some experience, but we don't know how to do it on a recurring basis. And so the question is like and this is like where strategy comes in is like how fast do you want to scale? Is this good enough, right? Because like now that we've done this pre-order right once, it's like we sort of get what we need to do. So it's like,
mm,
is that good enough for us to say, okay, now we're going to just double it and just figure that out again?
mm.
Because I think there's also an emotional tax of doing this, right? Because the emotional tax of getting something wrong is pretty high. And so then it's like you have to really drag yourself to do it again. And then you do it again, but it's a lot easier, but that emotional tax is still there.
Mm.
And so then if you scale too fast and that emotional tax, that emotional burden gets too high, then it becomes you start to burn out and you're like, okay, I don't know if I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because you're getting better at it, the actual physical toll that it takes on you is less because you know what you're doing a little bit better. So
Mm,
all that to say, I don't really know what the timeline is looking like at this point. I think there's actually a lot of cool opportunities that are popping up in terms of like pop-ups and pre-orders and things like that.
mm,
We will continue to do them for as long as we think makes sense. I would love to go on those third-party delivery platforms. Like to me, that is like the ultimate goal.
mm, mm.
And then once we do that, then we can find a brick and mortar. Because also finding a brick and mortar is sort of on the side. Like we could do that and still do exactly the same things that we're doing right now.
Mm.
But there's also a point of me probably quitting one of my jobs because I have two right now at the end of the summer, so that that'll actually free up some time for me because now this where we're at with this now is we're actually selling and we're actually moving,
Yeah.
right? I think I said this back when we're starting is like we're not moving, like we're not moving fast enough, but now we are moving and like momentum is on our side.
Yeah.
So now I have no trouble with that, but now it's more of how much time can I actually allot to like this moving vehicle? Like how far, like how can I help push it along rather than me being the factor that slows it down.
Mm. Well, no, that's it makes a lot of sense. And I think I just kind of came to realize again that for in your kind of timeline, it's not just like a daily sell right now, a sale. It's more of a pre-order, and then you guys are creating the selling those on the weekend. So I just realized, wow, it is really just like a weekly A/B testing in a sense that you're trying to find ways to improve. You're testing them. Oh wow, like these things improve, but maybe these things lack. How can we kind of keep that and improve some areas and things like that? So
That's
yeah.
exactly, but we just gotta keep going. And I
Mm,
don't know. There's no right or wrong, right? I think this is the part where like strategy and stuff like that. Like I will say like marketing has been really good. People have liked our food, which I think is a big plus. Granted, some of them are mostly friends or people that are supportive, so like I'm sure they'll say nice things regardless.
mhm.
Um, but I think genuinely our food is good, and like for the most people, right? Like for most people, it's good. It's good, and like it's good to sell, right? I don't like the term good enough because then that implies like we're not trying hard enough, but
Mm.
it is good to a point where we are good with selling it. Like I don't have any issues with our recipes or anything like that. I think it's just right now it's all hands on deck on how do we become more efficient at actually producing.
Mm. Yeah. Any I know you said that there were luckily, all very good feedback and reviews. Were there any negative reviews or feedback that you received
Yeah. I wouldn't say
recently?
anything like negative, but there have
Hmm.
been, comments about like some of the kimbap, especially because if we don't roll it tight enough towards the edges, tends to fall apart a little bit. So it's
Mm,
a little bit harder to grab,
hmm.
which is sort of a natural byproduct of how we roll it. Because
Hmm.
if you close it in rice, it's actually structurally very, very stable.
Yeah.
But like at this point, I don't really want to give up our aesthetics or our
Yeah.
like wise.
Yeah.
Although we could like rolling it and also rolling it is actually very time consuming. And so it is sort of up for debate, but like it hasn't come up enough where I think it's an actual genuine concern of anybody's yet. But if we do find that if for us, it's always like this. If it's a one-off comment and like we sort of know why it happened. As an example, we got some feedback from the first pre-order that our chicken wasn't crunchy or like crispy.
Mm,
And we were like, we agree. We know exactly why that happened is because we were running so far behind that like we had to basically take a little bit of a shortcut where it actually affected the quality of the food because we weren't
hmm.
Second time around, we were very prepared. Our food was a lot crunchier, and so it's actually somebody that ordered it from the first time was gave us feedback saying the chicken was like on point this time. Like it was great, like it was super crunchy. And then the feedback that he ended up giving, or they were ended up giving, was maybe you should consider drinks because now it's so hot. And so then now for us, the feedback is no longer about the food that we've gave them. So like we've basically we're good with where we're at.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, we do get, constructive, and to be quite frank with you, I think that that stuff is more helpful to us, right? We always say, saying great things is really helpful and like helps us emotionally, but
Hmm.
I think it's really the, what do you tell your friends if we are not in the question, like, and you're just talking with your friends, like, what is your genuine response to it? Like, that's what I'm always curious about.
Hmm. Yeah. I really like how you mentioned someone asking about the drinks. Yeah, very interesting.
And we will probably do drinks at some point. We initially wanted to do drinks, but it
Yeah,
is
it's another whole operation.
like we're just not experienced, right? Like we
Yeah.
are learning fast. I'm very confident in our ability to learn and adjust, but everything takes time. I think that's like the name of the game. And for as much as every day I'd like to think that we're really pushing forward, I think it's in reality, it's like if you have to look at it on a month by month, like even a week by week basis to see how much progress you're making. Because on a day by day, you're not doing anything to feel good.
Yeah. Wow, very exciting stuff, especially now, the upcoming weeks. This week and then next week is going to be pop-ups, no pickups, right? Only pop-ups, but it'll be both Saturday and Sunday for both weeks.
This week will be Saturday, Sunday. Next week will just be Saturday.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a lot of work and new challenges and yeah, just new episodes too. So yeah, very exciting stuff. Good to hear that there's always, gradual progress and improvements being made, as well as, constructive feedbacks kind of that's helping you kind of, um, I guess, narrow down on where the improvements needs to be. So yeah, really cool to hear that.
Yeah, I think again, I think our whole focus has always been the food has to be good. And now
Hmm.
what we're realizing is there's multiple things to that, right? Like obviously your recipes have to be good too, but operationally you have to be good enough and on time where you're not rushing the process and the techniques to like take shortcuts. Because that will also obviously affect the quality. So
Yeah, more hours to come.
yeah, lots of improvements, lots of changes. So,
Yeah, I'm personally excited to see this in action in person finally. So we'll next week we'll see yeah, how that goes.
yeah, feel free on Friday. I don't know what you're doing Friday, but like you're more than welcome to come by and see the actual state of my apartment, and we can, out and see the shared kitchen, see what we're actually going through. Because I think once you actually see it, I think the perspective is very different. So,
Yeah, sounds
but yeah,
great.
let me know.
Awesome.
Safe travels, and let me know when you get here.
Yeah. We'll talk. Well, we'll see each other this week, but we'll talk next week.
Sounds good.
Right. See ya.